During World War II, there was a shortage of military pilots, and the majority of male pilots were needed for combat. A call was made for experienced female pilots to supplement the male pilots in some non-combat roles. These WASP, Women Air Force Service Pilots, were considered civil servants.
We finally were recognized as veterans in 1977.
After 30 years of no recognition or benefits from serving our country in World War II, the WASP united and lobbied Congress for 3 years for their just military recognition. In 1974, Congressman Barry Goldwater, who had flown with them in the war, took up their cause, and Congress gave them military status in 1977, so they could be buried in a military cemetery with a flag on their coffin at last, and they could use Veteran Administration hospitals. In 2010, Texas Senator Kay Bailey Hutchison pushed for the bill which awarded the WASP Congressional Gold Medal. They were the third military unit to receive this distinguished recognition, after the Tuskegee Airmen and the Navajo Code Talkers. Finally, they have found their place in history, and the National WASP World War II Museum at Avenger Field, where they received their training, serves the nation by keeping this important piece of U.S. history alive. When the B-29, dubbed the Super Fortress, was first introduced to the male pilots, they were very skittish about flying the fiery plane because this last bomber, developed during the war, had a tendency to catch fire after takeoff. Paul Tibbets, who later piloted the Enola Gay when it dropped the bomb on Hiroshima, was at that time a young lieutenant colonel in charge of training for the B-29 at Salina. He decided to show the men that the plane could safely be flown by having 2 WASP demonstrate that they could easily fly the big bomber. He spent a couple of days training WASP Dora Dougherty and Dorothea Johnson at another air base, had Fifanella painted on the B-29's nose, and named the plane Ladybird. Using an adjusted pre-flight procedure, these 2 brave fly girls put on a little air show for his men, ending the grumbling among the male pilots.
We would surprise the towers every once in a while when they would see a B-25 in the pattern, and a girl would call in for landing instructions. And at one point I was told that to please get off the radio, there was a B-25 trying to come in. Then I informed them that I was the B-25, and there was great silence on the radio. And then they finally gave me permission to land.
They just weren't sure women could learn to fly military plane. I flew mostly fighters, P-51 Mustangs.
Unlike the male pilots, the WASP who died in crashes had no death benefits. The 38 who died serving our country were shipped home with no funds and no escort except that provided by her sister pilots or their family. The girls themselves would usually pass the hat to ship the body of their friend home, and one would ask for permission to escort the plain pine box with no flag on it to a non-military burial. The female pilots who gave their lives in World War II were not considered as part of the military because they were women.
Historically, it's accurate because it's right on the exact location at Avenger Field where they flew. You can still see parts of the history, the sign that shows Avenger Field and the Fifanella.
Countless volunteers and supporters have dug deep into their pockets and given of their time and talents to build a lasting tribute to the WASP and their legacy at Avenger Field in Sweetwater, Texas. Hangar 1 was opened in 2005 with 29 WASP in attendance, who left their handprints in concrete for posterity. The circa 1929 hangar has grown, with a recreation of a barracks sleeping bay, the addition of a flying PT-19, a bronze, the Graduate, sculpted and donated by WASP Dot Swain Lewis, and an exhibit dedicated to the life and legacy of the Director of Training and record-breaking pilot Jacqueline Cochran, plus much, much more. Now the museum has moved to the next level by expanding to provide a climate-controlled environment in order to preserve and display more of the precious artifacts from this fascinating, unique American experiment, the advent of women pilots in the military. National support is needed for the expansion of the National WASP World War II Museum to continue in its mission.